So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode we saw quite a lot of events happening, such as the uniting of Australia. Also had the continuation of the Chinese Civil War, as well as a lot of other events happening. So well, without any more yapping, let's just get into it. We're going to be starting up here in this region of East Asia, as a pretty big war is going to be starting. That's going to be the Japanese invading into the Siberians and taking the capital just like that. Siberia is practically Japanese core land. This was colonized by the Japanese, or at least like this portion of it. The rest was its own kind of culture and stuff, but this region of Japan is Japanese, or this region of Siberia is Japanese. And I think, the AU, they're distracted down here with the Chinese Civil War, so they won't be able to deal with us. They're wrong, but they will be able to pretty much take over most of Siberia and take over all this. We also have Japan making a landing over here and attempting to grab this city, which is a pretty... there's a lot of cities, weirdly, in this area, which there shouldn't be. But this world is a bit different than our world, like, in terms of geography, kind of, ish-wise. You're able to sort of live up into, like, this spot. Like, where this line is pretty much cold to the point where you're not really going to be able to live. But other than that, you could basically live all in this area. Like, it's not as cold as it is in real life. Also, in the Arabian Desert, like, it's not as sort of big. The Arabian Desert kind of looks more like this in this timeline, where everything below this black line is more in the desert. So I should probably get rid of a few major cities, but Red Team probably would have had enough time to build up some. So like Mesopotamia doesn't necessarily reach here, but it's still a bit fertile over here. So that's the core differences between this world and I guess our world. There's a few differences, but the Shandongese aren't really going to, or I guess Shandong isn't going to like this. This is one of the big members inside of the AU, and they're not going to like this and say, hey, invade any other countries and then we'll jump in. Oh my. The Koreans have started an invasion into the Manchurian country, and the Shandongese are going to be like, okay, then that's enough, we're joining this war. Shandong will be making invasions into Korea to finally hopefully take out the thorn in their side, which has been here this whole time. However, Korea isn't a weak country. They are a top 10 power, so they're going to be able to push Shandong back, and there's going to be a pretty big stalemate along the border. However, these are the weak areas of Shandong, so Korea is going to be able to make a march down to the peninsula, capture the island, and sort of start advancing out a lot. And they create one consolidated front line in Shandong and hold a majority of the troops to try and protect this front line, because they don't want to get pushed back past this, because if they do, it's pretty much game over. In Japan, it's going good for them as well, as we have this area captured and more landings are being made, and it's not completely frozen here like real life probably is, but they're able to make a few more landings along here in Siberia, as we even have the Japanese declaring war now on Sakhalin, which is a big thing for them to do, because why would they do this? But they just want to do it because they get more dominance, I guess. They also make a landing down in the Manchurian country, and it's looking like Japan is going to become a lot stronger after this war. Like, bring back the Japanese Empire, which is weird. But then the AU is going to offer an opportunity to a country that hasn't been around for a long time, and that's the original Japanese government, which is still down here in Jeju Island. They'll say, hey, join this war and you get all of Japan back to yourself, like how it was before. And Jeju will be like, alright, there's not much we can offer, but we'll see what we can do. And what can they do? Well, what they can do actually is just get invaded by Korea, because that's what basically happens straight away. And Korea will also make a big offence to try and get up with Japan, which they do successfully do, and cut off these guys from any ocean access up here. And the Japanese have now also taken over all of Sakhalin, which is going to let these guys get invaded a lot quicker. And yeah, oof. This is not going very good for the AEU at the minute. So then we have Shandong making a call to any other country in the AEU, asking them to join. Well, you have countries like India, and they say, okay, fine, we'll join, but this is not good. Persia will join the war, Bangladesh will join the war, other countries such as Vietnam, Indonesia, even Australia is joining. And Korea's getting a lot harder of a time now with the massive influx of troops coming in, as Shandong will bolt down this front line and cut the Korean troops off down here. However, the Koreans are going to make a pretty risky strategy, and that's basically abandoning Japan up here, which is a weird thing to do. And they're going to take a lot of their troops down out of this country and start to direct them towards Shandong, which they are going to basically push Shandong back quite a lot. And then they have a better navy than Japan over the Shandong for some reason, and they're able to make a landing in this area of the peninsula, which is devastating. As we have Korea cutting off this major city here, which is a very major city, we'll also make several advances down the coast over here and getting towards this other major city, which is a big one as well. And they'll also do a bit of a smart move, which is make a spearhead up here and start another invasion down into the Sakhalin country, which just like that there. And the Japanese are going to be like, okay, we can handle this ourselves, I guess. So they'll basically be able to capture this city once again, and they'll take out these two guys, because they could probably easily beat these two guys, but against Shandong, yeah, the Koreans can need a lot more help. But it's not all fun and games for Korea, as the Shandong will push this out of their peninsula. They'll also get cut off here and just really pushed out of Shandong. As we see, Shandongese starts to advance back against these guys, and we also have this region going back over to the control of the Manchurian country, which I've got a bit of tolerance on, so it's weird. So the Shandong now is just going full steam ahead, and they're able to cut off this area from this peninsula and just push completely inside of the Koreans. As the Koreans now get invaded in themselves, and yeah, it's not going very good for them as they make it down to this area of the peninsula just like that. Also have this country fully pushing Korea out, as the Shandongese troops will basically help them, so I'm just going to colour in Shandong's colour, but they'll be able to take over a lot of land from Korea, and this entire area falls over. So then they're going to make a pretty big and weird move. Ask both the countries to create the Koreo-Japanese Union, which is a strange move, I'd say. Also this country joining in on it. And with this kind of influx, they'll be able to push back against the Shandong over here, which is a bit of a distraction because we didn't expect this to happen. However, Siberia is able to push all these guys out of their country, and it's clear that this was a mistake, as they start now advancing down the Kuril Islands. Also this country fully pushing them out over here, and yeah, it's not looking good. Actually, Shandong will kind of put their push down, and they manage to recapture all of North Korea and start pushing down the South Korean area, capturing where Seoul is in real life, and pushing towards this. As you have the Manchurians managing to capture all of Sakhalin once again, and it's not good. As the old Japanese government will come back now officially, and they'll decide to make a landing right here, where people are starting to want to return to this OG government. So it's obviously not the same, but they want it back because they want the democratic stuff, you know, dictatorship down with it at this point. As the Japanese will start to make a move up the southern area of the coast, they'll make a big kind of invasion down into where the old capital was, and they managed to retake it back, which is a huge move. This island, which is very kind of pro-Korean / Japanese, has managed to be captured, but there's kind of a grudge against them. And actually the capital of Japan is captured, and yeah, they then come down and capture the capital of Korea, and the three-way kind of union is now being operated from the Hokkaido, but that gets captured really quickly. And the Japanese moving up Japan, and eventually the old governments over here will make the decision to surrender and basically capitulate at the same time. And we also have these guys getting taken, and yeah, let's take a look at a peace treaty, because it's going to be an interesting one for sure, and it's going to change the kind of landscape up here in East Asia. As now there's a lot more democratic allies for the AEU. So let's get in. Let's take a look at the peace treaty. So this is the peace treaty over here. As you can see, quite a lot has changed. First, Japan, or the old Japan, is back. They are officially back in the Japanese island. I know it was quite quick that they came back, but well, they don't really want Lime Japan back because that was a very bad country. We also have the return of Orange Korea. I don't know if many people remember this country, but they did exist a long time ago, and during Daily Korea update as well. But they're back, and their, I guess, government, which is not really the same government, but it's back, and they're completely different. We also have the Siberians getting a few of the Kuril Islands, like this one down here. Shandong will take a few provinces from up here. Same thing with this country, they'll take a few as well. Overall, the dictatorships over here in East Asia have been just defeated. And these guys are both turned into full democracies. Also, the Six Star Alliance is completely destroyed and dismantled. And instead, these two countries will be added into the AEU. So yeah, that's cool. East Asia is now a lot more democratic. Now come over to Anatolia, we're going to see a pretty large union form, which I think could be expected, as the Anatolians will be pretty much unionizing with this country, or I guess they'll be joining up with the Anatolians. This is a long time coming. They're both they're pretty much two of the most similar countries in the world, and now they're both together with one stronger union. About alliances, they'll pretty much just stay in the parallelograms, and nothing will really change here. So yeah, and ideology wise, they will become a communist nation. And yeah, Anatolia looks a lot different now. I mean, it doesn't look that much different, but it looks a lot more united. Anyway, now I think we should go ahead and look at the Chinese Civil War. As the ultra-nationalists will push up here in the purple country, or the communists, and they're having a bit of a logistical issue, so they're going to be able to push over here to where they're sort of yes, main area is, and they'll have a quick invasion made into the purple area. And you see they're actually working with the grey team, which is kind of like the rural kind of rebellion, to take out the purple team, which they hope they can do because this is like one of the least favorite rebellions. However, the lime team, or the Democrats, will be able to push down into the brown ultra-nationalists and take over pretty much all of the coasts. And the purple team, it looks like, I guess the communists look like they're not going to do much or very good after this and like that. However, then comes a betrayal as the grey country is going to move down into the ultra-nationalists, as the communists had secretly signed a pact with these guys to sort of like distract them and kind of make them think they're in an alliance, but they're actually going to get destroyed. As the communists will move down over here and completely just destroy this, and they'll also move into the this area of the brown team, and just like that they are getting quickly destroyed by all different parties. And yeah, we haven't seen much fighting between the communists and the Democrats, which is going to happen now, as the Democrats will start a big push into the communist areas. However, the communists will be able to push back over here, and they're able to push right down to this escalate and also take out this city, which is a very vital area because it's where all the Southeast Asian food kind of comes from, and a supply route, a very vital one, goes through this area here. So when you do something like that, it kind of, hurts the lime team a lot, and they're not going to be able to get as much food in their country, which is not good. I think we should take some time to talk about the former dictator of China, as he tries to flee over into Korea, but then the war started, and basically the new government gave him up to Shandong, and he is imprisoned now in the country. So that's what happened to the old dictator of the Chinese. However, in prison he is poisoned by an unknown man and dies. But anyway, the lime team is going to push over here and try to take out some of these supply routes in the purple team. However, this area is a very big one through this kind of exclave. They're not going to be able to do it though. With the coalition war between the grey and the communists, they will be able to completely take out the brown team now. And yeah, these guys, they're probably the weakest out of all of them. I mean, I don't think many people supported them, but well, it's over now, as these guys will basically just try and take the rest, or as much as they can, out of them. And yeah, brown team completely gone. And we see something quite unexpected happening, as a union between the communists and these guys, the farmers, people, rural area. And yeah, we'll have to see how this goes in, probably by the end of this episode. I'll probably end it then. There's a couple of events I want to tackle before the end of the episode. One of them being the expansion of the Diamond Alliance once again, as this is actually going to cause some tension between the parallelograms and the diamonds, which has kind of cooled down recently, but now it's back up again, and you'll see why. As we have Sweden and Norway joining both into this alliance, this is a big thing, because Sweden, despite the fact that they lost World War III, they're still a pretty strong country, because they still have a lot of the population down in the south. We also have this country joining in on the alliance, just like that, well, the wrong thing, but just like that as well as the German states down here, or well, this red one first. We then have the Berlin country joining. This is all very heavily influenced by Germany, and the orange one will also join into the alliance, and also the Danish countries will be joining in as well. So yeah, that's cool. And the Diamond Alliance is now a huge alliance which spans across pretty much all of Europe. And Romania probably feels quite threatened right now, because there's five different countries in the alliance that kind of probably want to get rid of you right now. But over here in Finland, the communists are not happy. Like, there's a communist party in Finland, and they're not happy with all this. And the communists are really not happy with this, because this is huge expansion that is completely unnecessary across all different parts of Europe. And they'll say they have a big response to the next episode, but the first response is going to be up here in Finland, as they are going to be launching a civil war in this country. And as this area over here will break away from Finland and start a massive invasion down into just Finland. If you remember, a very long time ago, there was kind of a Karelian country and a Finnish country. They united. This is essentially the Karelian country breaking away, but not really. It's more just communists in this area deciding that they want to have full control over the country. So that's what we're actually going to see. As the red team is going to be able to completely take over this, and it looks like Finland is completely dead, which they basically are. And yeah, Finland is completely taken over by the communists very, very quickly, which is a weird thing. And I'm going to keep them as this red colour because this is exactly how they are in each series, so I actually kind of like this. And the Finnish will turn from a democracy, which they currently are, and yeah, to turn into a communist country. This is extremely bad because, well, communism is now in Northern Europe, which no one wanted, because this is like the one area where it's kind of neutral from communism. And surprise, surprise, Finland is added into the Parallelogram Alliance. and this is a roadblock for Northern Europe because they kind of wanted to add Finland to the diamond so they could have just kind of full connection up with Russia and all the other countries, which they already do down here, but they kind of want to circle around. And these guys would be like, whoa, what are you doing with Finland? Finland's a European country, you can't just do something like this. And Africa's like, oh, well, yes we can. So anyway, that's a pretty big escalation over here, but let's move on to the end of the Chinese Civil War, which is going to finally be happening now. This is huge at this point, because it's probably around the year 2007, maybe 2008, and the communists obviously supporting the communist side, and the Democrats are supporting the line side down here. This is one of the biggest civil wars in this series history. Maybe obviously that was the biggest, but maybe this is very huge as well. The communists seem to have a lot more support, as they've been given a lot more like volunteer troops and stuff, than the Democrats, as they'll be able to push down here and nearly get towards the capital, which would be huge, and probably win them the war if they manage to get it. However, over in this region we have the supply lines finally being recaptured, and the communists pushed up out of this area like this. We have this area also being captured down here by the Democrats, as they'll get pushed up, and it looks like they're doing a lot better at this point. The communists have just had a massive offensive over here, and this basically looks like a huge, massive stalemate war, and it's going to keep being like this for a long time because both of these sides are basically equally matched at this point. So the AU will have a big vote in their kind of alliance, and they'll say, do you guys want to A, join this war, help the Democratic side win, and finally end this Chinese Civil War, which has gone on for nearly a decade at this point, or B, leave them to fight it out on their own? This is basically voted equally, but there's one country, which is the Shandong, who is basically going to be able to decide the final vote because they are the last to vote. Half of the countries in the alliance vote yes, half of the countries vote no. And Shandong can either decide to vote yes or vote no, and Shandong will decide to vote yes. They will get involved in this war to take out the communists because they don't want this spread into East Asia. The communists are obviously going to be like, this is not fair at all, but hey, it is what it is. As Shandongese troops will start to invade down into this area of this, like right this, you can see what this is. And we have the communists getting quickly kind of battered by the Shandongese, and yeah, this is going a lot better now, as these guys are going to be able to shoot up back into the communist area and completely cut off this entire area, and yeah, you can just see how big the support is. And so then a few months after this decision is made, the Democrats are basically going to win over all of China very easily, and well, you can see what happens now, as China is completely just liberated from communism, and the Democrats have officially won in China. And yeah, this is big, as now China can be officially recognized as a official state, as they will come back as a full democracy. The Chinese will also be unsuspended from the AEU because they are officially obviously recognized by a lot of countries in the world at this point, and they will also be turned back into a democracy, or they'll just become a democracy again. And as for Taiwan, they will also be becoming a democracy just like this as well. And it's kind of like the final chance for communism in Asia has died, and the communists aren't very happy, so they may do something a bit radical in the next episode, and you'll have to wait and see what that is, because I'm going to be ending a video off here. I'm happy with this episode. I think it was very good. A lot of stuff happened, mainly in Asia, because it's just been huge in Asia for the last 3 episodes. Asia's been the most probably eventful continent in the last 2 episodes. But anyway, apart from that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching today's video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.